Welcome back, YouTube. So in today's video, we're going to take a look here at the current price action. We are continuing that trend. It looks like we're getting more aggressive toward that breaking point. We're going to talk about what that number is that's going to give us the next gap up and ultimately give us that open up that zone for us to run and retest the all-time high. We're also going to take a look here at some liquidations, shorts, longs, and then also take a look at the current rankings that we have here overall for the market. So really quickly, we are continuing on this aggressive trend here. This candle is actually closed. We're just opened this new candle for the day. And as you can see, it's currently green and we're continuing this upward trend here toward that breaking zone. So for those of you that are asking what breaking zone as far as for what am I speaking of, I'm talking about let me just come here. I'm speaking on this particular zone right here, the ones that we set before the initial run up around April 18th, 2021 and June 3rd, roughly 2021, right? When we were coming down. So this was a very crucial point before we went and retested the all-time high. This was a point where we had to grab liquidity from. This is the point where we got rejected and we had to go lower to grab liquidity both before and after we had peaked as far as for all-time high prices. So this is roughly somewhere between right above where we are now. I'll say like 45.99 and 47 cents, right? So roughly right slightly above where we are now. It's like a little, maybe about a 2 cent window, right? So we're talking about 2 cents between where we are now. We're at 45.38 right now. So we're getting right there. We're inching up there. And that's going to be a major turning point here as far as for the liquidity coming into the market here and what we can expect here going into this zone. So the question is whether or not we're going to break into that zone or if we'll let's zoom back in really quickly. The question is whether or not we're going to break into that zone or if we're going to, let's say we hit this zone right about here in the next couple of days. And the question is, instead of this upward trend, will we have enough momentum to break into it? Or if we will, start a period as far as we're going like sideways here until we were able to grab some of that liquidity. Or, the third case is we'll have to, kind of like come down before we're able to kind of move up again. So it looks something like, again, this is exaggerating here, but something like that, right? Or the case may be because with Doge, we can maybe have like a slight push down, then something like this. But ultimately, what we'll be looking at once we're able to break into that zone, if history repeats itself, that's going to be an aggressive move to the upside here. And at that point, it's no more like 5 cents, 3 cents on these moves. Now we're talking about double-digit moves here because it's going to be ultimately pushing toward like into those gap zones that we've had established for quite some time. So this is really exciting here for us to get back here because this is going to, in my opinion, the reason I'm so excited about this is because it's going to shut up all the naysayers saying that, hey, well, it was the Elon pumps and the tweets that did it and blah, blah, it's dead. You're literally about to break into the one of the final zones here before we're able to retest, go up and start retesting some of those all-time highs. And it's with that, it's doing it much differently from the first time around. So this is one of the things that I believe is going to solidify Dogecoin's like arrival here and transition from the meme coin saga or narrative that's been floating around it. So I'm really excited about that. Overall, trend is looking absolutely amazing. Strength wise, using the 14-day as support, we have a ever widening gap between the 72 and the 200. Just absolutely crushing it. Looking really good. Going up here, let's take a look here. Just want to compare it to BTC. Let's try Coinbase. And maybe it's not Coinbase, it's Bitstamp. Yep, okay. So similar pattern here, not as aggressive, but because we have more of a flattening here for Bitcoin, just around that 100,000 mark. So it's not as an aggressive slant, but Bitcoin has been pretty much riding that 14-day as well. Some wicks obviously overshooting, but overall it's been able to grab liquidity and be able to open and close right at that 14-day on these daily candles. And it's looking very similar to what we were talking about as far as building out the stair steps and providing a floor there. And I think that if we're able to, I know some people want Bitcoin to just take off and run to 125, 150, 200. I cannot stress the importance of Bitcoin building a floor here and having a support area at around 100,000. That is, in my opinion, that's like the best thing Bitcoin can do right now is have a median of exchange between buyers and sellers at 100K. So when you're looking at some of those higher numbers, and once we get past peak bull run, the question will be, will Bitcoin go below 100K? We know after we're through with peak bull run, will you see those numbers again? Will we have the historic sell-offs or because of the companies that are piling in and buying Bitcoin and starting up these ETFs? Are we going to have less aggressive sell-offs in the crypto winter? Will there be a crypto winter? We'll just have a cool off period and we'll have some like a stabilization effect. Like these are all very important things that we have coming up here. And I believe we're going to have the answers, if not in this cycle, certainly by the next one. And these are very important things that we're going to use to monitor price and gauge the sell-offs of the market. Because I can tell you right now, if Bitcoin goes up, let's say we peak at, I don't know, 200K, 150, something like that, right? Or high, doesn't matter. It's just an example. But let's say that we have that cool off period and it does not go below 100K again. Let's just say even after peak bull run, after massive sell, let's say we have all the volatility, everything, and it does not go below that 100K mark. That's going to change the game for crypto. And that's one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing here. That's why we're paying attention to it, because that's going to determine how much money not only comes into these coins. If you're looking at things like XRP and Dogecoin, it's also going to determine how much money is staying in there, because now what we see is, this is kind of things I was talking about up to this run over the last few years, was we're going to have a almost like a consolidation of the crypto market, but also now these coins are going to go off into their respective places, and you're going to see individual catalysts wrapped around these coins, which is one of the reasons I'm looking forward to like X payments with Doge, XRP with like banking, things like that. Obviously, Bitcoin being crypto and gold. Ethereum has this niche with the contracts. Solana is probably going to come in there, get some market share. All of these coins are going to have their own perspective niches here where they're going to be used and have that function and utility, and they're going to be able to kind of like coexist. And one of my previous videos is something I talked about, which was like Bitcoin being like the American Express, and you can have like a coin be Visa or MasterCard. They all typically do the same things, but they're applying to different functions and different kinds of people in different places. So they can all coexist. It doesn't necessarily have to be one or the other. So I think that's kind of what we're alluding to here. I'm probably going to do an update on my video with doing the references between the crypto market and the S&P 500, because that's another thing I do believe we have unrolling here is a crypto S&P 500. So I think that's going to be fantastic as well. So let's take a look here, convert over to coin market cap. And we're going to take a look. Overall up 0.34% on the day, 3.68 trillion. Greed is coming down, 82. We were at 83 the other day. Bitcoin right below 100K, still up 3.44% on the 7-day. Ethereum up almost 8%. XRP reclaims the number 3 spot, jumping back over Tether here. We had dropped down to number 4 briefly, but still up 33% in the last 7 days. 7.81% in the last 24 hours, and almost 2% in the last hour. So right now coming in at 148.3 billion with 12.3 billion in volume in the last 24 hours. Solana coming in at number 5, red on the hour and the 7-day, but up on the 24, 113 billion, 3.9 billion in volume in the last 24 hours. And I want to point something out here. So you see where Solana is. Solana is number 5, and people say, "Oh, it's crazy for Doge to break into the top 5 and all that kind of stuff." Look at the volume here. Now, obviously, this is buy and sells, but look at the volume between Solana, BNB, and Doge. The volume for Solana is 3.9 billion. The volume for BNB 2.3, but the volume for Doge, which is 2 spots below Solana, 8.1 billion. Right, and consider this. This is it. Doge is green on the last 24 hours, 3.32, 6.51, which is higher than BNB and Solana, higher percentages there. And we also have is green on the was this the 7-day, 6.51%, 14.52, and Solana is obviously down. Now, obviously, we're having more volume in, right? So that means that the coin is changing hands more frequently. But look at the prices between these two, right? $238, $751, and then 45 cents. It takes a lot more money to move these coins, right? A lot more money, because the 2 coins above it are what, $1 and 260. So kind of keep that in mind when we're talking about 100% return from where we are now, right? We're talking about roughly 90 cents for Doge, right? Still less than $1, but 90 cents for Doge will get you 100%. BNB, what is that? 1,400. Solana, what is that? Almost 500. So percentage of returns, and also the volume here, we're getting an idea, because people are going to start to look for gains. Because right now, most of the people are playing their favorites and doubling down like in their favorites. But there'll come a time where all people are going to see is green, and you're going to have candle chasing and gains, and people are going to be chasing gains in those green candles. And at that point, it becomes, I don't necessarily care about what the what coin it is, whether that's my favorite coin. I'm looking for returns, right? And I believe that's what's going to happen here relatively soon. And you're going to see that, okay, well, the coin that's obviously dramatically cheaper here is going to be able to offer the greatest return compared to the capital that I'm putting in. So you'll see that kind of benefit of Doge being cheaper than a lot of those coins kind of come into play. So let's take a look here overall at some liquidations here, shorts, all that kind of good stuff. All right. So liquidations are a little bit unchanged from yesterday, slightly down on the long side, but for the most part, still 3-1, 5 hour, 74.25, 30, 73.26, 73.26 on the hour, 73.26 on a 4 hour, and 73.26 roughly on the 1 day as well. So still 3 longs for every 1 short. So obviously we're still having some bullish momentum here coming into the asset. Liquidations are up overall in total. We're at 10.3 million now in the last 24 hours. Long is 3.8 to short 6.5. So long liquidation or short liquidations are about twice that of the long position. So that's always good. Love to see a good short wrecking. Let's see. Let's check open interest here. Open interest is up 3.7 billion in open interest, 13.33% increase in the last 24 hours. I'm looking for 4 billion plus, right? That's going to be kind of like the magic number here that I'm looking for in open interest. I'm looking to have that 4 billion mark for us to have some strong numbers here in contracts, etc., going to retest the all-time high. So I'm looking for 4 billion plus in open interest, because I believe that's going to give us a good footing going forward. And when you look at this, let's see. That was a different chart down here. Oh, I couldn't zoom in. I want to say, if it can pop up here. All right, that's enough. Yeah, that's what I thought. So look at the the actual ability of contracts here, because people always look at buys and sells, but you see the contracts here are playing a huge role. And as I'm going to verify this on a different chart, but I believe this is off of TradingView as well. It looks very similar in setup, but you'll see that our open interest here in the last couple of months are now reaching all-time highs, even compared to back in 2021. The open interest here, we're reaching all-time highs here. This is one of the things, like looking at the data in the background, because you can start to see things are brewing before they're actually happening. And I like looking for swaps with long and shorts and a lot of these good things, so I kind of see what's happening before it's necessarily um, played out in the charts or price action. You can kind of start to anticipate things to make sure that you're in position. So um, overall, a lot of these indicators, everything for the most part, unless we get a sell-off in Bitcoin, all of the indicators are pointing toward higher. They're pointing toward to go retest this zone. Now, obviously, breaking into that is obviously what I said is going to be, I think, between 45.99 and 47 cents, somewhere in between there. And the strength that we have when we retest that zone, that's going to play a big part as far as breaking into that gap zone. And obviously, that's going to play a part in as far as how high we go into that gap zone before we need to grab additional liquidity. But obviously, last time we went there and we were able to test relatively quickly, going up. I think we stopped at 61 cents, but even that was a retest after we had already peaked, and we bounced back up to 61 cents, and we just couldn't retest again. So that's something to look at. But again, from 45.99 to or 47 cents to 61 cents, that's a big enough jump. I think that alone is going to spark enough interest here that we're probably going to see some FOMO in the coin even at that point. And obviously, that's going to position us to go with attack like that dollar plus and some of those higher targets. That's what's going to open up that window. So that being said, I appreciate all of you guys. Hope you guys found value. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Like the video, share it with a friend, and I will see you guys in the next one.